Family members of slain broadcaster Percy Lapid are now fearing for their lives after reporting having received death threats online and via phone calls.
In response, the PNP vowed to ensure the safety and protection of the Mabasa family while investigation into the late commentator's killing is ongoing. Brian Castillo with the big story.
Mauubos kayo at mamamatay. This is one of the stern warnings received by the family of slain radio broadcaster Percy Mabasa, widely known as Percy Lapid. Roy Mabasa, brother of the veteran journalist, exclusively shared to News 5 a screenshot showing a portion of the alleged death threat. The warning says one of Ka Percy's children will follow the fate of his father. According to Mabasa, they started receiving threats when a certain individual reached out to him online, claiming to have knowledge about the killing of Lapid. There was also an instance where Mabasa was able to have a video call with the person who introduced himself as an informant. Mabasa believes that the man is an inmate from the New Bilibid prison.
Hindi niya pinakikita yung mukha niya. Ang pinakita lang niya ay kalahati ng katawan niya na nakasuot ng orange na t-shirt na may nakasulat na maximum security. Mukhang sa Bilibid dito, no?
The person claims he has a strong evidence that will pinpoint people behind the murder of the broadcaster.
Sinabi niya meron daw siyang audio recording noong namatay na middleman na habang kinakausap ng isang Bucor official at tinuutusan na patayin si Percy Lapid.
However, things changed when the said informant asked for 1 million pesos in exchange for the information that will identify key suspects.
Sinabi niya meron pang ilang tao na involved dito na malalaman niyo rin sa akin kung babayaran niyo ako ng pera.
Mabasa said the supposed informant was furious when he rejected the offer. Mabasa then blocked the man on Facebook to avoid further conversations. However, the persistence of the informant went on until things began to heat up and pledges became threats. To their surprise, the man even got the personal contact numbers of Lapid's children, where he called them to deliver a warning.
Tinawagan niya yung dalawang telephone number ng dalawang pamangkin ko. At doon ay pinagtatatakot din sila na huwag maglalabas, papatayin sila, huwag nang maglagalag at may masamang mangyayari sa inyo.
Because of the situation, the bereaved family no longer feels safe going outside of their home. The Mabasa family has reached out to authorities following the death threats they received. For their part, the PNP says they are in continuous communication with the family. They also guarantee to provide security if needed.
The PNP will be willing to provide and secure po any member po ng family ni Ginong Percy Mabasa para maiwasan na po natin yung nangyari po na kahalintulad ni Ginong Percy Mabasa, sir.
Meanwhile, the PNP Anti-Cybercrime Group will begin to trace social media accounts used to send threats to Percy Lapid's kin. For News 5, Brian Castillo, we are One News.
Meanwhile, the body of the alleged middleman in the killing of Percy Lapid will undergo a second autopsy. This after many, including the Mabasa family, raised questions over the results from the first one conducted by the NBI. Gio Robles with this report.
Forensic pathologist Dr. Raquel Fortun is set to examine the remains of Jun Villamor, the alleged middleman in the killing of broadcaster Percy Lapid. This is the second time that his body will undergo autopsy after that of the Investigation Bureau. Villamor's remains were transferred from a funeral parlor in Alabang to the Philippine General Hospital in Manila. Fortun said she will find answers to the questions surrounding his death.
As a pathologist din, medyo marami akong tanong. Like, for instance, hindi man lang sinabi dun kung anong edad niya. You know, that's so basic, the age and the sex. Tapos, walang sinasabi about them opening the head to examine the brain.
The forensic expert also questioned the supposed lack of toxicology tests.
Automatic, kinukunan niya ng samples for toxicology. Kahit hindi ka nagsususpect ng intoxication. But in the Philippines, that is not done. And obviously, if mauna yung embalming, sira na yung samples.
With this, Fortun said there's a need to establish a system of death investigation in the country.
Basically, wala nga tayo kasing sistema. So nakakalusot yung mga mali. And yun ang nakaka-frustrate kasi parati na lang natin itong pinag-uusapan, parati natin pinu-point out bakit ganitong nangyari. Hanggang usap lang tayo.
There's no word yet on when the second autopsy results will be released. Authorities said there are currently 160 persons of interest in Lapid's murder. This includes suspended Bucor Chief Gerald Bantag, who is being sued over his supposed lapses in security management in the Bilibid. For News 5, Gio Robles, we are One News.
To talk to us more about these latest developments, we have with us on the show Atty. Berteni Causing, spokesperson for the Mabasa family. He's joining us over the line. Welcome to the big story, Atty. Causing.
Thank you for having me and good evening to all, including your listeners.
Attorney, I wanted to start with the re-autopsy. What do we hope to discover from this exercise?
We really hope to discover whether there is that poison that was administered to the body of the first middleman, named as Crisanto Paliana Villamor or Jun Villamor y Luba.
Okay. And then quickly lang po, doon po sa ongoing investigation, more than 100 persons of interest. How do you feel about that? I mean, does that actually narrow things down for you or does that not really move the needle much given na lampas 100?
Actually, it pinned our head around into a murky water to look for even one or two or three persons, and who among them is too difficult to do. But for them to say there are 160 POIs, then that makes life harder for us. But anyway, I'm wondering why, of all the 160 POIs, they were mentioning only one person among the 160, who is General Bantag.
All right, let's go back to what we discussed earlier this morning. You mentioned that certain pieces of information were being given to your camp, particularly by the sister of Villamor alias Marisa. Sabi niyo po kanina, 100,000 pesos po yung inaalok. Pero dininay po ito ni Mr. Roy Mabasa in a statement. Also, another piece of evidence from a PDL asking in exchange 1 million pesos. Can you clarify the situation on these information, and are you considering the truth of their statements?
Actually, we have referred that matter to the DOJ because they have that NBI helping us. And if there is that inclusion of monetary considerations, then we'll let that matter to be resolved by the NBI itself.
All right. But are the same pieces of information leading towards Bucor Chief Bantag as well?
Well, we could not say whether it is a good evidence or not. But until now, if she is really sincere, that Marisa, then she could have volunteered that. But for us to be hijacked with this money, then what we see at all is that an evidence for sale or a justice for sale. So we do not want that. We do not want other persons to be suffering just because of an evidence that we don't know whether it is true or not. Mm-hmm. Maybe the best thing to do is for them to offer to us to see what evidence do they have, and maybe we could help. Maybe in the form of help, we could give money, we could raise funds, crowdfunding, but for them to outrightly say that we are asking money in exchange for that, then that would be a difficult one for us to deal with. We are leaving it to the National Bureau of Investigation to deal with the matter because they are more competent than us with regard to that matter.
Samantala po, Atty. Causing, kamusta po ang seguridad ng mga kamag-anak, lalo na mga nagsasabing they've been receiving death threats?
Well, as of now, all we have to do is only to observe, be careful procedures every day, every time, every hour, because although we look at it seriously, all these death threats, including that given to Mr. Roy Mabasa.
The PNP at one point declared the case solved. What do you make of this statement? They say that the current parameters or the things that have unfolded in the past days lead towards the case being solved. What do you make out of that?
The family is actually reacting on that with great sadness because everybody knows that there is such a thing as mastermind, and yet we are still having in our hands only the gunman who surrendered, and he said something else, other people, and yet those people that he mentioned were not even arrested. Only him who is now in the custody of the law. She mentioned at least 3 persons, the brothers Israel and Edmond Di Baculangan, and then that certain Orly or Orlando. We haven't yet secured those guys, and yet there are other problems who are considered as 160 POIs. So we are actually being confused now. But anyway, we are hopeful that something good will come to us in the week's time.
Okay, Atty. Causing, maraming salamat po. Berteni Causing is spokesperson for the Mabasa family.